record a podcast.
Yay!
Yes. All right. Yeah, Morah sounds excited. This is Friends Talking Nerdy, the inaugural podcast. My name is Tim Jousma.
I'm Sterling.
Sterling what?
No, it's just Sterling.
Oh.
It's like Cher.
He's like Madonna. There you go. And on the line, we got Morah, all the way from New York. Say hi, Morah.
Hello.
She's calling from the dangerous, wild streets of New York. She's probably fighting a street gang as we talk right now. So.
No, I'm just walking around packing.
Packing?
I don't need no gang. I'm packing.
She's packing heat.
Packing.
It's how we roll in the Big Apple. Yeah. I'm sure
Right.
I'm sure Sinatra did it. But anyway, Friends Talking Nerdy, what is this? You can get nerdy about a lot of stuff, but why not just talk about it? We live in a great time to where the average Joe like you and me can buy the right equipment and just talk like we know what we're talking about. I'm a former staff writer for Latino Review Media. Sterling is a longtime comic book fan, and Morah definitely has her opinions on a lot of stuff, so we thought we would get together, have a little fun with the podcast, and just see where we can go from here. So how about we go around the horn, since Morah's calling all the way from New York. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, a little background. I did work at a comic book store once upon a time. So that definitely upped my comic book collection to so many boxes. It's now in storage because I just have nowhere to put them.
Nice.
And, yeah. And I think I've seen just about every action film out there. So.
Oh, yeah. John Wick 2, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen that.
You love that one. You keep referring to that.
Oh, my God. That, and I wish Atomic Blonde was as good as it. Just good actor shooting people in the face for 2 hours is my kind of entertainment.
John Wick.
You know what? Because you said it wasn't that great, I just haven't seen it yet. I will, but because you didn't rave about it, I just didn't run to the theater.
Well, I'll say this. Charlize Theron did an amazing job in that movie. I just thought the ending was really darn confusing.
Don't ruin it.
I'm not ruining. I'm just saying it was confusing. I'm not saying specifics. You will know what I'm talking about when you read it.
Sterling, did you see it?
No. The last movie I saw in theaters, I think, was Spider-Man. Yeah.
The original with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. The original with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
No. Homecoming was really good. I liked that, by the way.
I saw that in IMAX 3D. Nice. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was my favorite Spider-Man, but unfortunately it looks like not other people agree. It did not do too well at the box office.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't it do better than all other Spider-Mans?
I think domestically it didn't. I think it's one of those situations like the Terminator Genesis film to where the worldwide gross helped put it into the profitable range, but I don't think it did that well in America here.
Weird. And I could see a lot of people getting confused about all the other Spider-Man movies, and they're like, is this just another reboot?
Well, it is another reboot, unfortunately, but they...
yeah, but hold on. I have to say, even though it's a reboot, I'm really, really thankful they didn't have to go and tell the whole original story all over again about how he became Spider-Man and, the whole death.
Yeah, origin stories just suck.
Well, I mean, they glossed over it in Civil War. So, I mean, like, we've known the origin story so often that it's just like, oh, hey, gloss, and then we're done.
But that's what I'm saying. We don't have to have another movie about it.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, that's fair.
And it depends on the character, too. I mean, if it's a lesser-known character, like if they're making a Moon Knight TV show or movie, we need an origin. But if it's Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, we know... I mean, even if somebody who's never read a comic book and never saw a superhero movie knows what to expect when they go in. They know the big beats. I mean, they probably know more about Superman than they know about Jesus.
Yeah. So, Tim, you've been talking a lot right now. What about you? Where did you start off with? Like, I'm here. I've met you through work, and
we work at a strip club.
Yeah. So I'm excited to hear where your origins started. What would you say would be your defining quality that led you to be quote unquote nerdy?
Well, horrible genes to start off with. No, growing up in Michigan, back in the good old days, I would, single parent households, go to my father's house on the weekends. We would watch the original Star Trek, and then when 87 rolled around and Star Trek The Next Generation hit, we would watch that every Saturday night. From there, we, was introduced to Doctor Who, and then when I was a kid, cartoons, the Super Friends. Loved that show. And then Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends with Bobby Drake as Iceman, Firestar, and
Spider-Man.
That was the best.
yeah.
I love those.
You know what's funny? I saw that originally on Boomerang. That was my introduction to that.
But the Super Friends, I loved it too because one of my favorite actors, Ted Knight, who played the stuffy judge in Caddyshack, was the narrator.
Really?
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the Legion of Doom.
I never knew that. That's hysterical.
Oh man, that's funny.
Oh, Ted Knight was in everything. I think his first major film, he was a guard that was guarding Norman Bates at the end of Psycho.
Oh wow.
He's been in a lot, and of course,
Wow.
what he did on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. There is nobody that can play dumb as realistic as he was able to do. One of my favorite actors. I mean, him and Betty White.
He was true.
Yeah.
Ooh, Betty White, man. She comes through in so many different facets. It's amazing.
And she's been around for so long, but she's able to still reach people. I remember when the WWE did their stupid, we're going to have a guest house every single week. They had the Muppets, they had Florence Henderson, and I'm even I'm embarrassed to be a wrestling fan now. And then Betty White shows up, and it's just okay, this is pretty good. I like it.
I did not
She's
see
hysterical.
that.
I worked in an event with her when I was working in radio promotions, and it was an in-store promotion, and it was tied in with her animal nonprofit organization. It was one of those ASPCA things, and she was the sweetest thing. So sweet and full of life. It was amazing.
Oh, speaking of your radio thing, you got to tell the story about how you saw the Kiss reunion concert, the Kiss Unplugged show.
That was great. It's funny you said that. I was just actually thinking about that earlier today. I have one of their songs on my iPod, and it just brought back memories. I was working for a rock station, and we had tickets we were giving away on air, but they had 2 pairs to give to people in the office, and they just kind of did a raffle, and I was lucky enough to win.
Nice.
And this was the Unplugged, when MTV actually played music, and they did the Unplugged version, and it was Kiss and a reunion. There were rumors going around saying Ace Frehley was going to show up, but nothing was verified. And of course, he did show up, which was awesome. And when they went to play the song, Party Every Day, I'm sorry, it's late at night, so I'm kind of tired.
Rock
But
and
anyway,
roll.
Rock and roll all night.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So it was funny, so they started playing, and then, Gene screwed up. Then they played again, then Ace screwed up. And, they had to keep doing so many takes, and, every time, it just kind of got really irritating because, there must have been, 15 takes of that song, and, they kept screwing up somewhere in the middle of it. So here you are. It's we had to act oh, they're playing it for the first time, woohoo, and then everybody stands up, and then they screw up, everybody sits back down, waits a minute, and then they start all over again. But it's funny how, they all took turns screwing up.
I could see that. They're just what do I want to do? What do I want to do? I forget.
Well, I think Gene was probably more worried about girlfriend 12,327, but...
Isn't he married? He's married.
I don't know if he's married.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He got
he's
married.
been married to the same
Yeah.
lady for
To the
20 years.
Yeah, but he also
Yeah.
makes a big deal about, impregnating half of the Midwest. I don't know.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I could see that.
It's
So
the power.
I didn't get introduced to Kiss until I was 13, and I saw the movie Detroit Rock City. So, yeah.
I got you both beat. In '96, I saw the Kiss reunion concert in full makeup with the original members.
Nice.
Just Gene Simmons spitting out blood, and there was a great part in the middle. Paul Stanley's notorious for having these horrible monologues on stage, and one of them was, "We just wanted to tell y'all we value you as fans, and you should never ever drink or drive. Now here's our song Cold Gin." About, the
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, like, you become older and you become, like, responsible adults and, like, you have kids and stuff.
and then here's a song about drinking. Yeah, woo!
drinking.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Sterling? What's the origin of your nerdiness?
So, I, from a young age, I was born in a small town in California called Hollister, and then moved to Florida. And one of the big things about Florida is the ever popular hurricane. So during hurricanes, my parents made a big thing about reading. So, I mean, you can read with the power out. And then we got really into board games, and I remember, my grandpa got me a Game Boy. That was like my big jump into video games with Tetris.
Right.
The original Game Boy that I actually have right here. So I have my original Game Boy, I have my Tetris game, Kirby, and a game called Korth.
I don't even know what that game is.
It's great. It's great. Just look it up. So a lot of time.
Wait. What's the last game called? I couldn't hear.
Korth. Quarth.
Huh. Okay.
It's amazing. It's like the reverse of Tetris. Pieces are flying at you, and you have to like make them disappear. Yeah, it's good.
Go away.
But
I have a feeling if I see it, I'll know it.
oh yeah, absolutely. But all of this time spent in Florida, you have this unappropriated month indoors. Hurricane Andrew was one of the big ones that I remember. We had a piece of plywood get picked up and like chop my neighbor's tree down and like knock over their house. Like, it was crazy. So like you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna read my book, and you find ways to just kind of escape that a little bit with like board games, books, things like that, and then
You didn't do it by drinking like other
no,
Southern
no,
people?
no. This is like ages 2 to 10. So like
Yeah.
the hardest thing that I got into was like watching cartoons super late, like on MTV. Yeah, Beavis and Butthead, The Head.
Oh my God, Beavis and Butthead. I love that show.
But the best part about being in Florida when it wasn't hurricane season is all of the space launching and stuff. So when I was a kid, I got to take a field trip to one of the launch centers, and we got to watch a space shuttle launch, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then that kind of jumped into like space exploration, which led to like Star Trek, which led to Star Wars. I know it's going to sound shitty, but I actually saw the original Star Wars like redone, digitally remastered in theaters when they re-released.
The special edition?
Yeah. So I got to see those. I got to see Greedo shoot first. That was terrible. Apparently somebody doesn't like the fact that Star Wars was remastered with the ambulance in the background.
Yeah.
I told you, this is what happens when you walk around in New York. It's going to be that noise.
Hey, we're recording here.
editions?
We're recording the podcast. Hey, knock it off.
I know this guy who knows a guy who can tell you not to talk about that. Huh? But, the special editions, I think, get a lot of flack. I think Lucas didn't do himself any favors by keeping on adding to them like he did.
Yeah.
I think the initial ones were good, and I think that in a lot of ways they did make it a lot more of an overarching story than it was originally intended to be.
The one thing that ruined the digitally remastered, because, like, I saw the digitally remastered. That was fun. But then they had like the episodes 1, 2, and 3, and then they put in Anakin. Like, what's that kid's name?
Hayden Christensen?
Hayden Christensen. They put in Hayden Christensen as Anakin.
The only problem I have with that is that they should have completely done away with the other guy. The moment Luke takes Vader's masks off and has that final conversation with him at the end of Return of the Jedi, that should have been Hayden Christensen.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and that's the weird thing, is like, how do you have Hayden Christensen and not that guy?
It made more sense because you're telling the viewer that it's okay to be as bad as you want until the very end and say, oops, just kidding, I'm good now. And then you come out looking a lot better than people have been good all along, like Obi-Wan and Yoda. If there's some spiritual afterlife going on here, you would think they would have made him disfigured. Let him be, with his friends, but just have him be disfigured and shook.
Well, and that was the other thing, too, is you saw everybody else at the end of their life. Ben Kenobi, Qui-Gon, everybody. And then it's like, oh, hey, young Anakin. Like, okay. And then you just have young Indiana Jones hanging out in the background, too.
Yeah, not that Shia LaBeouf.
Okay, I'm sorry. You expect way too much when they came out with the whole Jar Jar Binks and everything. So you expect that, but...
Ghost Jar Jar Binks, too.
It's too much. No, it's... Yeah. I hear what you're saying. I agree. It would have been nice, but no. It's the way they just messed it up. They really did. I can't even watch those movies again.
But seeing those movies with my dad, like my dad saw it in theaters, like that was probably one of the best things ever. Mm-hmm. You find these old-timey theaters, and you get to see it with like someone who's important to you or a friend. And like those
but
movies,
that's if you watch the original.
Yeah.
That's if you watch like Star Wars, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. That's it for me. That's it. It stops right there.
You don't even like The Force Awakens?
Okay, no, that was okay. It kind of makes up for those last three, which I can't even refer to them. I just can't.
Yeah, I liked Rogue One. Rogue One was really good too.
The last 10 minutes of Rogue One was good.
Yes,
I think the story they were trying to tell with the characters in that film went nowhere, but the existing characters that we already know, the scenes with Vader, with Tarkin and Leia.
Yeah.
Vader at the end slicing through it. Oh wait, spoilers. At the end with Vader just slicing through everybody.
Nice.
Yeah.
That I've wanted to see that for years.
But okay, going to your spoilers, if we paid attention in A New Hope, right? Literally, they say everybody who got us this data died getting us this data. So we knew where everybody was going.
And it's not that it was a suicide mission. Take a look at Saving Private Ryan. That was a story about a suicide mission. Most of those characters died, but it was well written. We ended up caring for them at the end. Whereas with Rogue One, at the end of that movie, when I even forgot their names, when those characters ended up dying, it was just like, bye. I mean, I could not have cared any less for characters than,
But no, but for that, I think that was done on purpose. I feel like they had to have done that, seeing how you knew within the first 10 minutes where it was going. You knew, like, this is this pre-story. You knew these people didn't make it. So, you can kind of got attached, like, to that. You're right. I don't remember the names, but, like, the martial arts guy, he was awesome.
Ip Man.
He was my favorite character.
Yeah, Ip Man. Yeah, Donnie Yen, I believe his name is. Yeah, he's amazing. If
the Force is...
if anybody listening to the show, you have to watch the Ip Man movies, especially Ip Man 3 with special guest Mike Tyson.
Really? I have not seen that one.
Wow.
It's on Netflix.
So, K2SO. K2SO, the giant robot, that was my favorite character. And he will always stand out because that was, like, the best. There's a scene where they're on... Oh, man, what's the planet with the Kyber crystals? They're on the planet where the Kyber crystals come from.
Yeah.
The Kyber crystals are what the Jedis use to make their lightsabers.
Was there a dragon there?
Yeah.
The hell was that?
Oh, what, me? Yeah, that was a bus going by.
Yeah.
That's an angry bus, man.
So
And the bus have tempers in New York.
K2SO.
Welcome to New York.
K2SO is talking to the people after that big shootout, and then the stormtroopers show up, and they're like, "Hey, where are you going? Where are you taking them?" And he's like, "Oh, these are prisoners. I'm taking them to a prisoner exchange or whatever." And one of the guys opens up his mouth, and it's completely ad-libbed, and you don't see it, but he smacks what's his name? The dude with the brown hair. Okay, yeah, they're not memorable.
Yeah.
But that part was totally ad-libbed, and you see him, he's like holding his hands over his face, and he's holding his hands over his face because he's laughing. And he can't stop laughing because that part wasn't expected. And apparently he like hurt his nose really bad.
Ow.
Yeah. So
That's funny.
completely
That's awesome.
ad-libbed, but added to the moment perfectly. And it made K2SO, in my mind, memorable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. He was funny. I loved him. And okay, if you've seen iRobot, he played Sonny in iRobot. He played Steve the Pirate in Dodgeball.
I don't actively watch Will Smith movies.
Oh, you're talking about Alan
Tudyk.
Tudyk.
Yeah.
Tudyk.
Yeah.
Tudyk,
Also
yeah.
very famous
Oh my God, I
for
love him. Amazing.
Firefly. Really great in Firefly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was actually at a Wizard World that we went to, Morah, back in February.
He is so funny.
Yeah.
He is
Yeah,
absolutely so
we saw
funny.
him. He was in the tent, but we couldn't go up to him. Yeah.
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 But we did see everybody else. I mean, thanks to Morah, I ended up shaking
That
Nichelle
was
Nichols' hand.
awesome.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, now granted, Nichelle Nichols looked at me like I had the plague, but I shook your
What?
hand's
I
hand.
introduced you.
Yeah.
And she was like, what are
Shook her
you
hand,
wrong?
Yeah.
And the Hulk, that was cool.
Which Hulk?
Lou Ferrigno.
Oh, man,
That
he's
was
so
good.
cool.
Yeah. And Eric
Yeah,
Estrada.
but Eric Estrada was the best.
I wasn't a woman. He didn't want to talk to me. He talked for like 20 minutes. But
I got a hug. That's all.
yeah, come here, honey.
Jealous because I got a hug.
Damn it, yes I am.
Yeah, he was a hugger.
So
Okay.
the last time I was at a convention, I had like the best luck. I met Peter Mayhew, who played Chewbacca,
Yeah.
and he like the listeners don't know this, but I'm almost 7 feet tall. I'm 6'11", and the dude dwarfed me. It was awesome.
But now he can barely stand
Yeah,
on his
yeah,
knees and all that.
yeah. I mean, when you get taller,
Aw,
it's-
Sterling felt like a little kid.
Yeah. But tall people stick together. I don't know if you've ever seen it or experienced it, but like tall people just make friends. Tall people make friends with each other. They're like, hey, you're tall, I'm tall, let's be best friends.
Sure, people
that's
got
adorable.
no reason to.
Yeah. But that was the same con where I met Stan Lee. So I had tried to meet Stan Lee 3 times, and every time I like just missed him. And it was terrible.
Oh, I got to ask him a question. I'll make
I
sure.
remember you telling me that was a great question.
Yeah, I'm going to post that on the website, friendstalkingnerdy.com. But yeah, I had a bucket list thing. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Had to have a couple of beers to do it. But at Rose City Comic Con last year, ended up asking him a question, and I think I annoyed him. But that wouldn't be the first
I don't like literally. I watched the video. I don't think he heard you.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
No, because the co-host, the one he was snuggling up next to, he had to have a hot blonde chick next to him. But she would, anybody that asked a question, she would tell him the question. I mean, he's like, what, 92, 93? He was even with
95.
something like that. I mean, and it's unfortunate that his wife passed away.
Oh, that
Earlier
was
this year,
so
but-
sad.
But he
I
couldn't.
didn't know.
Yeah, and I remember watching that documentary on his life and how,
She like kept it all together.
if it wasn't for her, there would be no Marvel Universe. I mean, she's the one who said if you're going to leave Marvel, make a comic that you're going to be proud of, and that's how he made the Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
So
that was
Wow. That's awesome.
But it was also great in that documentary because she would talk about all the ways she would spend his money, and he just sat there with a smile on his face, like, yeah.
I only
Speaking
saw
of-
a little
yeah,
bit
go
of
ahead.
part of that, and I caught the part where he was saying how, like all the cameos he does in the movies, how he just loves doing it.
Oh man,
Like,
did
that
you
was
see
so
him
much fun
talking
for
about
him.
Deadpool?
Yeah, he mentioned being upset because the women weren't actually there.
Oh, he said that one was his favorite though. In Deadpool,
Wait, what? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, in Deadpool, he was the DJ at a strip club. That was the best. Again, spoilers, but like if you're, I don't know. It was so funny. He's like, next on the stage, Jasmine, and it's just Stan Lee.
I did like the little...
I was.
Go ahead.
He was like the what? No, finish your sentence.
No, you go first.
I was just going to say I was at the gym and they were playing on the TV Iron Man, I think it was 3. And there was this one scene where Tony Stark goes to a van because he wants to hack into the computer system. And it's part of a beauty pageant, and Stan Lee's one of the judges, which is hysterical. And you see him all excited, like holding up a number 10 sign. That's great.
I did love what they did in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah.
Watcher.
They made him a watcher. And the interesting thing is, I really think they're laying down a foundation to introduce the Fantastic Four.
That'd be great.
Because the Watcher, that is a license that was held by Fox due to the Fantastic Four. The Skrulls who are going to be in Captain Marvel next year, again, Fantastic Four license. Yet Marvel Studios has that. And there's a movie coming out in 2020 that Marvel's producing that they have not given any indication what that is. I really think after with Avengers 4, they're going to introduce the Fantastic Four. Because I don't see how in the blue how Fox could make things better after that atrocious Josh Trank movie.
Well, did you see after that they pulled all Fantastic Four titles?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a great way to put pressure on Fox to take back the intellectual property. Yeah.
Wait, but this is what I'm not understanding. Why they already made Fantastic Four movies, so why are they like recreating another one? There's so many comic books out there, so many superheroes that they can totally make, do another one. Like, I was excited when they did Doctor Strange. Finally, something that you really haven't seen anything in the last, 20 years? At least on the main screen?
Well, the license is that when Marvel sold the film rights entail that the studios in question have to make a movie of that property once every 7 years. If they do not do that, then the rights revert back to Marvel. So, I mean, we still got a couple of years left, but Fox, if they want to keep the Fantastic Four license, has to make a movie by 2022, I think, at the latest.
Yeah. And they really need to, smart up and then just go with the way of Sony and just make a partnership with the Marvel studio and find a way to appropriately introduce the characters, have them have a great step into the Marvel universe, and it's just the best way to go about it.
Once they do that, I mean, that would open the door. I mean, because I think, with Doctor Strange, that opened the door to the multiverse. So that could be the rationalization, opening up the floodgates for other studios' Marvel movies to be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Because if there's a multiverse, there's multiple things, multiple versions of the characters we know and love. And if the Skrulls are going to be introduced, imagine if Avengers 4 was Secret Invasion.
Ooh.
That would kick ass.
Yeah.
Well, what about whatever happened to Aquaman? Weren't they supposed to do? There was I know they did an Aquaman cartoon, movie cartoon type of thing. I remember a couple of years ago, I saw it at the New York Comic Con.
That's DC.
But I thought there was. I'm talking but I'm just talking about main characters, about main well-known superheroes, where it's that's what I'm saying. There's so many other superheroes that we can do movies at without having to see great. Another Fantastic Four movie, another Spider-Man, another Superman, another
Gotcha.
Batman.
Yeah. Well, no, they're
That's what I'm saying. It's like, when have we ever seen Aquaman? When have we... Help, bring back the Wonder Twins.
Yeah.
God.
I mean, they
I don't even
have
think people
Justice
in
League
the
coming
younger
out.
generation.
Yeah.
No, they are making an
Know what
Aquaman
Wonder
movie.
Twins
I
are.
think the women of America would riot in the streets if they didn't.
Yeah.
With Jason Momoa.
So after they do Justice League, they're going to do an Aquaman movie.
If the Justice League doesn't tank.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Reportedly, the initial run of the Justice League was termed unwatchable.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Seriously?
yeah, and Joss Whedon, I guess, has had to do some major rewrites and some major reshoots for that movie.
Makes sense.
Oh, crap.
I'm just glad they got Whedon, or Joss Whedon. Yeah, he made the Avengers. He made the Avengers, and it made this excellent bar for what is amazing.
What I think he's proven is that he's able to work around multiple stories and make it into a cohesive story to where
Yes.
you can enjoy one singular film, but you can also enjoy the other films that tie into it as well. The Marvel Universe may be a little top-heavy right now, but one thing you can't say is that the stories are bad. There's some mediocre ones,
yeah,
but...
And Joss Whedon, if you look at his past films, he has the ability to take multiple characters in a film and then give them times to shine. And when you have like an all-star cast like Avengers, you have Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, you just have all these great characters who can stand alone on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put them together.
Can't believe you didn't mention Thor. What's wrong with you?
I did.
We see where Morah's mind is, but
yeah.
but me,
Damn right.
I'll mention Black Widow and we'll be even. So.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Black Widow in the poster they have for Infinity War, she's blonde.
Yeah.
When has she ever been blonde in the comics?
When she's in disguise, duh.
Shut up. Anyway.
She's a master of disguise. Like, what? I mean, come on. Come on.
She's a redhead. Keep the ginger on her. I don't know.
Yeah. You can wear a wig. Wigs are allowed.
Yeah, I'm talking to a guy who needs one. But anyway. But
Oh,
Not
man.
touching this conversation.
Yeah.
you're not going to help me out? Come on.
You guys are on your own on that.
Okay. So Moira brought up that she used to work at a comic book store. I also worked at a comic book store for 5 years. What got you into comics, Tim? Or let's say this: what was everybody's first comic?
So here's the thing with me. When I was young, I was too much of a tomboy. So, like, I always wanted to go outside and play and not sit and read. And
Like you nerds.
it was... Wait, what?
Like you nerds.
I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my parents, like, they started buying me comic books, but they were trying to get me to, like, read out, like, stuff for school, and the teacher basically encouraged my parents to say, well, if this is the only thing she's reading, fine, buy her as many comic books as she wants, because if it gets her to read, we need to improve her reading skills. So that's what they did. So I started with Archie comics, Tintin, and Asterix and Obelix.
Dude,
That's what I grew up
Tintin
on.
is legit. Tintin is legit.
I love Tintin. And I was heartbroken when they butchered the movie.
No, they did not. That movie was amazing. That movie was great.
No, they butchered it. Excuse me. Okay, fine. You want to go into this? Let's go into this. They took a character. They gave them a villain that was created from nowhere. It's like that character was like a small cameo in one of the books. Okay?
Yeah.
There was no reason. He has enough villains. There's what, Rastapopoulos. He is like this evil villain character that's been in numerous Tintin books, but yet, no. Did they bring him in? No, they created this other little guy who was just really a ship collector in the book, and that was it. So explain to me why they did that. They didn't need to do that. I hate when they do that. stick with the damn story.
I loved Tintin
Right, now
as an
going by.
introduction to the character because they took 2 or 3 stories and made it a fluid movie. I mean, you're taking these stories that were in like Sunday newspapers. You know what I mean? So you're taking these stories and then you're turning them into an almost 2-hour film.
But first of all, that's granted with the newspapers, yes, but they were actual books. So they could have taken a book from start to end and stuck with one. That's fine. If they want to mesh it. But stick with, like, why create a villain out of nowhere that never been in the book? That's what I'm saying. They took a character that was just, seriously, he was like on, 2 pages?
Red Rackham, you have all these other characters and stuff like that, yeah.
I'm glad, they had some of the other characters show up, which was cool.
Yeah.
But, still, they really didn't need to create somebody new like that. And that's what I've always hated if I grew up reading a comic book, because after that, I started reading, after Tintin, I was reading Modesty Blaze, I was reading Batman, and then Dark Knight came out, and that's what I really got into. I was really more of a DC girl than a Marvel. But, even when the movies, when Spawn came out, that was my thing. I was working at the comic book store at that time, so I had, every time it came out, that was I was one of the first ones to get the issue. And then when it came out with the movie, it's heartbreaking because it's you read the book, you read you read the comic books, and then it's the movie falls short.
You didn't like John Leguizamo?
Yeah. The what was it? The HBO special too. That was
it was a TV show, yeah.
Yeah.
The cartoon, but that actually Todd McFarlane is remaking that movie.
He's in the works to make a rated R Spawn film. You would think we would have gotten one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been a huge Spawn fan myself.
Yeah.
I did see the original movie.
Have you guys seen, I posted a video on YouTube where I met Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, I remember you showing me that.
But who's bragging,
here's an
right?
interesting thing. So what it was, hold on 1 second, somebody's passing by. Okay, so just so you know what that was, if you heard the music, there was a guy riding on a bike with a sign with a swastika, but an anti-swastika, and it says "fuck Nazis" on it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Just so you know what that was. Oh, and he was blasting that song, if you heard it.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, Tom McFarlane, so when Spawn came out and he started getting big, he was kind of known in the community, and I don't know how true this is, but from the rumor mill, he was something of an asshole. Never met him. I don't know, but that's what I heard. Then, a few years ago when I was at New York Comic Con, he was there. And my friend and I see that there's a short line to go meet him. So we're like, hell yeah, let's get online. So we got online and we're almost close up to go talk to him. And that's when one of the crew came up to us and saying, hey, he's going to have to take his break. I'm sorry. We're ending the line here. So they were like, look, come back in an hour and we'll get you back online. So we're like, all right, fine. So we started walking around and we just kind of circled, and 10 minutes later we came back and we see that he's still there. So we're like, great. So we got back online, and then they tried to pull the same thing again, saying, well, he's taking off. And I'm like, look, you just told us that, but he's still here. Please, I really just want to say hello. I talked to them. I was schmoozing with them, and they were like, okay, you know what? Fine, we'll let you go. So I was like, awesome. So I met him, and I explained to him I wanted a video, if he doesn't mind, just saying happy birthday to my friend, and congratulations, because my friend just got married. And this is my friend who actually introduced me to Spawn.
Nice.
So that's part of the reason why I wanted to do that. Next thing I know, so, one of his assistants takes my phone, starts recording, and he starts going into this whole thing, like this, like 5-minute thing about, you know, how he's sorry that my friend is not there, and it's like happy birthday, and it's like you got to come back next year because right now it's boring because you're not here. And I was not expecting this, and I'm standing right next to him laughing like an idiot because I'm like, what the hell is he doing? I was not expecting that at all. It was like the best thing ever. So, and I had to post it on YouTube because the video was too long, and I told my friend, okay, go check it out. That's your birthday present.
There you go. There you go. I picked up his book, Haunt. Have you ever heard of it? No?
No.
What's it called?
Haunt.
No.
It was like his little like pet project after Spawn. And I think it had like a 21-issue run. And it's about this guy, and it's really weird. He has a suit like Spawn, but he like throws it up. And it like becomes it's really weird. It didn't catch on.
It's like an anorexic Flash.
Yeah. So he has like these weird like demon powers, and he's like running around and all this stuff. But I picked him up, and he's the ones that I found him at a Goodwill, right? And they're autographed.
Oh
yeah. Wow.
If you want to find good comics, just kind of randomly hit up a Goodwill.
Oh, I'll tell you, the best find I ever found was for $1. It was at a secondhand store. It was issue 2 of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Nice. I have the collection over there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've paid attention to this wall in here of like I've got Ultimate Spider-Man prints. I've got Amazing Spider-Man prints. I have Dan Slott's like drawing an autograph right there with Humberto Ramos.
Yeah.
And I have there. Okay, so that was when I met Stan, the Amazing Spider-Man. That's the first appearance of the black suit.
Yep.
And it's autographed by Stan.
Oh my goodness.
So I was having a panic attack. I don't do well at cons. I like being at cons, but I don't like being at cons. I don't like being around that many people. I don't do well with it, and people don't bathe. And
then why do you work at the fruit stand?
yeah. So when I'm at conventions, I have a very hard time. So I look for spaces like that are open, that have nobody in them.
It's like, ew, don't touch me.
It's not even the touching. It's just that many people, and like nobody gives a shit about your personal
I get
space.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm sitting behind this curtain. Where they square off the show floor, and I realize that they run famous people through these like areas where they like wall off the con. So I'm having this little panic attack, and like Stan is there with like 5 people, and he sees me just kind of like freaking out, and he's like, "You doing okay there, bud?" And I was like, "Hey, Stan, no, I'm just having a small panic attack."
Yeah, you told me this.
And it was the funniest thing. And he's all like, well, like, it's crazy bumping into you because I've tried to meet you like 5 times. And he's like, do you have anything you want to sign? And I was like, that. And I have my Amazing Spider-Man first appearance of like the black suit. And he's like, oh, yeah, here. And he like writes on it. It's kind of sloppy, but I was so amazed. And it's a great little story to have.
Speaking of stories, you met Brian Bendis.
Brian Michael Bendis, yes. He came into the store the other day. It was so much fun. Because he's just chilling there, and he's, oh, hey, I'm here to pick up my my thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me, Did you fall over and die?
Did you throw the one ring into the pits of Mordor? Morah?
Did you die?
What?
Did you die?
No.
Okay.
What?
That just sounded kind.
Oh, the sound?
There is no Morah,
what do you want from me?
Yeah. But Brian Michael Bendis came into our store, and he was like returning some product and picking up a repair. And I met him, and oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the artist, but he did that. We went to the event.
The Dave Marquez.
Dave Marquez. So he recognized me from the Dave Marquez signing. And he was like, oh yeah, I gave you the Iron Man book. And I was like, yeah, you totally did. That was awesome. But he had been into our store like 5 or 6 times since I started working there, and that was the first time I ever met him.
Yeah.
But we were sitting there talking about the new Thor Ragnarok movie coming out, and we were just shooting this shit, and we were talking about like artists that we like, and then he brought up Jack Kirby.
Oh.
So he brought up Jack Kirby because I don't know what happened, but they get like their books for the month or whatever, and his books went to Jack Kirby's daughter, and Jack Kirby's daughter's books went to him. And he's sitting there, and he brought up Jack Kirby, and I was like, dude, I don't know if you've seen the art on set for Ragnarok, but it's all a bunch of Kirby stuff. And he's like, yeah. They were like talking to me like how to fit it in, and I was like, what? Well, that's the coolest thing ever. Oh man, he's awesome. He is like the nicest guy. If you catch him at like a perfect time, like you don't want to be like, oh my God, Brian, help me.
Well, it's not. Yeah. It's about not being an asshole. I mean, I met him once myself, and for people that know me, yes, I did talk to him. I did get the courage to do that, but it's just treating people the way you'd want to be treated. You know, you don't go up and throw some paper in somebody's face and sign this for me, please.
Yeah.
You know, you just gotta you gotta be nice.
If you're unaware of who Brian Michael Bendis is, if you've read a Marvel comic in the last 20 years,
then turn off this podcast, download the Marvel Unlimited app, and read Ultimate Spider-Man. That is your homework.
Yeah. There's a box over there with the complete collection of the Ultimate Spider-Man history.
Yeah.
But he helped create Ultimate Spider-Man. He pushed a lot of continuity between books, and he helped revitalize Marvel Comics in like the 2000s.
When they needed it, there was the post-bankruptcy where Marvel was not in a place where they could have necessarily survived, but they got lucky.
Yeah.
I just wish they would take some of that continuity mindset and kind of apply it towards their current stories.
One of the funniest things in the Ultimate Spider-Man series run, it was, I think it was like 20 issues in. But there was a run of 3 books where Peter Parker and Wolverine switch bodies.
Yeah.
And the first issue of that run, it was like three books. It's a cartoon of Brian, and he's like, "Listen, I didn't like this idea. I don't like how it rolled, but they're making us do it, so we're just doing it." And
Stan used to do that back in the day.
Yeah. And it was great because they actually turned it into an episode in the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I love that show. And Marvel has this bad habit of making good cartoons, but then cutting it off after 1 or 2 seasons. Like
the
Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes,
that was
the
so
best
good.
Cartoon ever made.
They did excellent storylines. Secret Invasion, the formation of the team.
Galactus.
Yes.
Showing up at the very end with everybody there. That kicked ass. And then we got the silly Avengers Assemble show, which was just absolute garbage.
That was terrible. That was it. And I understand what they were doing with it. They made it more appealing to younger audiences. And when you have a lot of continuity on shows, it's a lot harder for kids to get into it because
Fuck the kids.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You're watching a TV show on a kid's channel. You can't be mad about them making it more for the kids.
At the very least, they were able to complete 2 complete seasons. They weren't canceled halfway through. They completed all their story arcs, and I think they accomplished something in those 2 seasons for that cartoon.
They accomplished great story writing.
Yeah.
The introduction of Ant-Man and Wasp and then Yellow Jacket, that was a great plan.
And when Edgar Wright was writing and supposed to direct Ant-Man, he actually used that episode from that cartoon as the inspiration for how he was going to take the movie.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
And then Will Ferrell, his best buddy, had to take over that movie.
Will Ferrell?
And Adam McKay, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I was like, I don't understand. I know what you're saying now. Okay.
Yeah. I just hate Will Ferrell. Hope he gets run over by a bus.
Oh, I know you love him.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
You got a poster right above your bed.
Yeah. A whole shrine. It's like Mel Gibson in Conspiracy Theory with pictures of Julia Roberts in his room. Yeah, it's just all Will Ferrell.
Do you have a count on the
Yep.
time? I wonder how long we're going.
It is 6:29. We've been going for 52 minutes, so I think we're at a good spot. We got enough material here.
Yeah, and I have to get going. So it's hard to hear you guys, just so you know. I'm sorry. It's like I was really hoping to be like at home.
No, yeah. No, it's fine. I understand.
For
Like,
me.
it's not exactly the most reliable, you know, like being across the country with time frames and stuff.
Yeah, so thanks, Morah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Well, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah,
No
happy
problem.
to have you.
You are welcome on any time.
Yeah. I loved hearing your aged history of comics.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
I was there when Spawn was launched. Whoa! Gotta get back to the old folks' home.
I think if she were here,
So
she
you're
would...
lucky I'm not there.
I know
will
exactly.
kick
You should
your
punch me in the
ass.
throat.
She trained to be a
No.
boxer. I wouldn't fuck with her. I mean,
Yeah.
And then Morah strikes me as the type of person that would get a plane ticket just to move here to beat your ass and then move back. You know?
Yeah.
So if
I had the
this
money, I
makes
totally
you
would.
feel anything, when I was 10, I watched the inaugural episode of Voyager. So like when Voyager like first started, that was like one of my like first
That
runs
was
of Star Trek.
96, so that made... I was 20. I was worried about getting drunk at that time. But, you know.
Yeah. So
What's changed?
I was born in '89. If that makes you guys feel any better, yeah. Oh my
Doesn't
god.
bother me.
Yeah.
I don't care.
She'll be going home drinking tonight, but anyway. Son of a bitch.
No,
89.
no, because the thing is, I know at least I got started on Star Trek with William Shatner, which is like, to me, it's still the best. Because
Yeah.
by the time Voyager came on, I was just like, eh.
Yeah.
I didn't get through the first season of Voyager. I
What?
didn't care for it.
Voyager was one of my favorites
Yeah.
because it like was the first female captain who like kicked ass.
It felt forced, though.
Well, she was a Shakespearean actress,
So was Patrick Stewart, but
I
he
didn't
and
care
he
for
was
her.
awesome.
I just didn't care for her.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't care for her, but I thought she had a command of the ship. Like, she had an excellent command, very similar to Patrick Stewart.
I think he wants to be her number 2.
More like her number one.
Hey now. Hey.
Hey,
Did you guys see the commercial for Seth MacFarlane's
The Orville?
Orville, yeah. That looks great.
Yeah.
And I'm beginning to like it more and more just because he gets what a Star Trek type of show should be. It should be positive. It should make you feel good. And I'm hearing a lot of
I
bad.
hope it's good.
I'm hearing a lot of bad stuff about Star Trek Discovery, though.
Yeah, same. I'm excited for both. Seth has a great comedic timing. So like you know they're showing clips of the show and like
Prom night dumpster baby.
Oh my god, he has an amazing singing voice, and I don't know if you've ever seen him do like the cocktail nights.
Well, he trained with the singers that helped Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. So he has this like really really great classic tune where he learned a lot of just great songs, and it's great to see him take stuff like that into Family Guy, American Dad, the Cleveland Show. It didn't get to shine that often. They had him there to save everybody's ear.
Well,
All right.
we'll probably turn this into a 2-parter anyway.
Okay.
So
Star Wars and then
All right,
like comics.
episode 2.
Yeah. Take it easy. Have fun. Don't do drugs.
Thanks. Have a
Get
good
home
night.
safe.
Eat
I
some
think no
gefilte
problem.
fish.
Goodbye, guys.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye.